Black people have a superpower nobody wants them to know about.
We are genetically superior than any other race on this planet. This is a fact.
I just find Black American to be funnier. I think we're also funnier. I think we have a natural sense of humor. Like when we're comedians, we do it the best. Also when we sing, we do it the best. When we're athletes, we do it the best.
See, Black pride. Yes, Candace.
I say this on
That's
my
what
show.
we want from Candace. Black pride. Not all of the other shit that makes us say, damn, is she proud to be black?
Yo, King, why does everyone hate black people?
That's simple, bro. You guys are the tallest, you're the fastest, you're the strongest, and you're the biggest. And you guys have the best voices. You guys took over the sports industry, the music industry, the rap industry, and now you guys are taking over the film industry. You see, it's not that people hate you guys. It's that people are hating on you guys. And you gotta know the difference, brother. You'll never see a hater do better than you.
Damn, King, I never thought about it that way.
Everything they do is just cooler. Everything they touch is just smoother, right? Sports, science, music, presidencies, right? Everything they do. Black people have the swag. You cannot deny the swag. Black people have the swag. Even white supremacists are like, yeah, they have swag. It's like undeniable coolness. Like black people are so cool, they can own their own racial slur. Okay, that's how cool they are. No other minority in America is cool enough to own their own slur. All right, you never see Chinese people walking around just going, hey yo, my chinks. Yo, holler at me, chinks. Yeah, my chinks. Hey, stay yellow, my fellows. What? Sounds awful.
Brothers and sisters, at this point, black excellence is at a whole different level. I'm telling y'all, something is shifting right in front of our eyes. The same people who use it to overlook it, deny it, or even try to downplay it, now they can't stop talking about it. Everywhere you look, people are finally admitting the influence, the resilience, the impact that black folks have had not just in America, but across the entire planet, but across the entire world. And what amazes me most is that people are no longer whispering about it. They are openly praising it. They are talking about the culture, the creativity, the strength, the ability to turn struggle into greatness, and the way black people have influenced almost everything around us. So let's watch these clips. I will come back at the end and help you to connect dots. If you are enjoying watching this one, please click on the like button. And those viewers who have not yet subscribed, hit on the subscribe button. Let's keep going.
I'm seriously convinced that black people are superheroes. Black people are superheroes, and laughing is their kryptonite. Because anywhere I go, I can go anywhere in the world, and I can see some black people, we can read each other's mind. I promise you, can be some crazy shit going on. We'll be in the corner and we just look at each other. We having a full-blown conversation without even talking. We get that look like. And that person can understand exactly what I said without me moving my lips. You can't tell me that ain't no magic, baby. You can't tell me that ain't no superpower. And then, the reason I say black people kryptonite is laughing. I haven't been in a room full of black folks where they just sit still and if a black person sits still and laugh, it's fake. They be slapping their knee, grabbing you, pulling you, standing up, running around, all theatrics. Just acting a fool. Moving back and forth, holding their hands in the air, laughing, clapping their hands together, crying. They'll start crying, laughing. Black people laugh so hard, their stomach be hurt. They be getting a six-pack. They just my thesis, you know, that's just what I think. I think that a lot.
Because you are superior. We don't have to pretend that we're not superior. Certainly the black man. Because by you all accepting that you are less, and they have made it almost illegal. That's one of the things they said against the messenger, is that he teaching racial superiority. Absolutely, they teach it. And if they didn't teach racial superiority, then how come they don't say that Jesus is black or Chinese or Latino? They made him white like them. That's the supreme racial superiority that they tricked us with. We're American Africans. This is how African look that's been indoctrinated with all the nonsense of America. This is how an African looks when they have been robbed of their God, their politics, and their principles. We are a result. This is what it looks like. Okay? That's because you are superior. We don't have to pretend that we're not superior. Certainly the black man. Because by you all accepting that you are less, and they have made it almost illegal. That's one of the things they said against the messenger, is that he teaching racial superiority. Absolutely. They teach it. And if they didn't teach racial superiority, then how come they don't say that Jesus is black or Chinese or Latino? They made him white like them. That's the supreme racial superiority that they tricked us with.
Black people are genetically superior.
Yeah.
Period. But they make it seem like we are inferior. Yeah. We are the majority, but they make it seem like we're the minority. He's the minority. You're the majority.
Yeah.
So when I tell you black people are perfect,
yeah,
that's not a joke. When I tell you the greatest woman on this planet is the black woman, that's not a joke.
If you're black and watching this video right now, you're actively being pursued by an intricate network of systems designed to make you less of a superhero.
Every single black person that you see is a walking miracle. For each generation of people that had to survive, all the things that they had to survive that made it possible for us to even be born. We are a miraculous people, each and every one of us. So if I was an ancestor, I would remind that baby first, if they didn't already know, your whole existence is a miracle. You have this unique set of capabilities, mind, physical form, all these things. You have this one life right here. Don't waste it. Don't waste it thinking about what other people are perceiving you to be. Just like really get in here, acknowledge and accept that you are a miraculous human being and you deserve to go live out your potential.
10% of black men have what's called the super gene. The super gene is the ability to put on muscle without fat. Only 1% of Caucasians have it. 75% plus of self-made billionaires were born to wealthy parents. But that does not mean their parents gave them the money. The way I interpret that is genetics.
Black people has always been, backing me. My agent's black. My accountant's black. What is it? My accountant, my thing's black. My rent's black. Literally black. So that's why my first network credit is BET, bro. It's not Telemundo. It's not Univision. I've never been put on by a Hispanic TV network. I've been put on by BET. I've been in 2 BET movies, and I'm gonna be in a 3rd one. It's like, bro, cuando dice ese creen moreno, bro, they love me and I love them. At the end of the day, it's what it is, And it's not like Telemundo gave me a 5-season novela.
Telemundo was never gonna give you a 5-season.
I'm too dark for them.
You're too dark for them.
Hit up Jesse though, and if you need somebody.
Why do black people make such great athletes? Like, did God just click extra speed and power in character creation? Let's break it down. The muscle advantage. Studies show people of West African descent tend to have more fast twitch muscle fibers, the kind built for explosive movement. That's why you see dominance in sprints, boxing, basketball, anywhere being powerful, fast matters. It's not magic, it's physiology. The environmental and historical factor. Centuries of surviving harsh environments and later enduring slavery and colonization shaped bodies built for endurance and resilience. When you're forced to work, run, or fight to survive for generations, evolution takes notes. The cultural factor. Then comes culture. Across the diaspora, athletic excellence isn't just celebrated, it's a language. Sports became one of the few stages where black talent couldn't be ignored. From the streets to the stadiums, movement became a form of freedom. So no, it's not black genetics or divine favoritism. It's biology, history, and culture all doing push-ups together for 400 years. Science just caught up to what the ancestors already knew. We built different. Literally.
There's something about black people, this superior, sublime. They just got it all, bro. Athleticism, soul, finesse, rhythm. Like, it's the OP race. Think about it. Y'all melanated folk, like, I know I'm glazing, but I kiss you on your forehead. I look up to you. God bless you all.
Crawling reveals that the core of the human brain is the locus coeruleus, which is a structure that is black because it contains large amounts of neuromelanin, which is essential for its operation. 2, black infants sit, crawl, and walk sooner than whites. 3, Carol Barnes notes that human mental processes are controlled by melanin, that same chemical which gives blacks their superior physical and mental abilities. 4, some scientists have revealed that most whites are unable to produce melanin because their pineal glands are often calcified or non-functioning. Pineal calcification rates with Africans are 5 to 15%, Asians 15 to 25%, and Europeans 60 to 80%. This is the chemical basis for the cultural differences between blacks and whites. And 5, melanin endows blacks with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities, something which cannot be measured based on Eurocentric standards. End quote. Let that sink in. Melanin endows black people with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities.
Is America the only place where black people act black? I'm not trying to generalize black people because I know even in America, we don't all act the same. And I know that there is, huge gaps between diasporic people. However, in America, there is a general cohesiveness amongst our people of just authenticity, frankness, and, vibes. What I've noticed is black people, especially black people who live in European countries, y'all quiet as a mouse. Y'all don't speak unless spoken to. Y'all doing everything y'all can do to conform and fit in. That's why TikTok is so boring when the Americans leave. For the most part, black Americans have refused to conform. If there's no space for black people to be authentically ourselves, we make space. We make room. We don't conform, we don't shut up, we don't be quiet. We fight for our right to speak, for our right to be seen, for our right to create, and live how we choose to live. And everyone doesn't have to agree with it, but when we be us, people latch on to what we do. Because what we do is outside of the norm. We create the culture here. We set the tone. And when we set the tone in the culture, it allows people to piggyback off of that. Make more culture, make more art. Then it becomes the cultural standard. We shift the frequency just by being us, just by doing what we want to do. My advice to British black people, since y'all are biggest haters, do what you want to do. Say what you want to say. Act how you want to act. And they might talk about you and judge you at first. In 5 business days, they'll be doing exactly what you do. Just how y'all always doing what we do. Y'all can have a uniquely British culture if y'all just step outside of the norm and choose to be who you want to be. Be who you are. Don't let nobody tell you who you can and cannot be. Be you. That's why black people love the UK Thanos. That girl is authentically herself. She matched our vibe so much because that's all we doing is being ourselves. And we fuck with anybody who being ourselves. Black, white, Spanish, Mexican, whoever. When you being yourself, no matter how it's perceived, people rock with that. So my advice to anybody struggling to be a content creator, mad at America for being American, be yourself and you won't have nothing to be mad on.
The black community is more loving, more forgiving, more accepting than we have any right to expect them to be. And it's overwhelmed me in a good way. So a couple of months ago, I posted a video because I had been thinking about why is it that throughout centuries on continents all over the place that black people have been targeted for such horrific treatment and such oppression. Why this group? And the more I thought about it, I'm like, there's something special. They have to, there's something special. Do you have some magic or some power? And I posted that as a question. In the comments, I learned the answer in the comments, but not in the way you think. Now, there were people who gave me good information about, historical concepts and things like that, and I'm still learning about that. But what I mean is, in the way they responded to my comments, I can see that there is something special, and that is just by genuinely asking a question. Because I want to stop it. I want the world to be different. I don't want this to happen again, and people keep being treated like that. The vast majority of the black people who commented on my video were so like, we love you, sis. Here's what you need to know. Or, just for asking the question, we love you and we accept you. And I'm like, I got mad at somebody at the HEB for cutting in front of line of me, and you can forgive, a whole race of people when we come to you and say we're sorry and we want to learn. That level of love and acceptance and forgiveness is really jaw-dropping to me, and that shows me a bit of what I was asking. Yes, there are other gifts and talents and historically things that set the Black race apart. But I saw in my comments how kind, how loving. I mean, almost to a degree that I can't even fathom. And I go back and read those comments a lot. And I want to just thank everybody who took the time to speak to me. A couple of you were like, why are you so nervous in this video? I was nervous. Because these are conversations that I want to have, but I'm not sure I know how to start them or have them without being offensive, because I know there are all kinds of things. I am just learning the roots of certain words that I say, that I grew up saying, that I had no idea were racist. And so I'm a little bit terrified, because I want to learn. I want you guys to adopt me. It's what I want, but I want to learn, and I'm afraid that I don't even have the right words to start the learning. But, and some of that in my video was sadness and shame that I knew racism was real. I mean, I've worked in the criminal justice system, and I have seen it firsthand. But I missed so much until I started raising biracial children. And I'm ashamed that it took it being personal to me before I realized how deep the racism ran. So to all of you who took the time to comment, and those of you who have been so kind, and to the few of you that said, we don't trust you and we're not giving you our secrets, I respect you too. I wouldn't trust me if I were you. That's why the majority of people who are so free to say, come on in, sis, we got you. It has meant more to me than I can say. Thank you. Go love your neighbor.
What is it about Black people? Because we have to be some type of special, magical being for the way that people keep on trying to steal us. There was the transatlantic slave trade. We all know that one. But there was also the Arab slave trade. But here's the thing. The enslaved Africans that they chose to go to the Americas, they were actually very skilled workers. They had architects, people that understood agriculture, because to build a brand new country, you need to have skilled workers. And I'm assuming that's probably the same for the Arab slave trade as well. I don't know too much about that one, I'll be honest. But then there's the land, because everybody comes to pillage Africa due to the resources, the gold, the oil, the diamonds, the ore. So between the rich and resourceful lands and the smart-ass magical people, there's something about us.
Let's talk about it. This comment was on my video where I was saying that, like, at work, I work in a predominantly Black school. If I turn red, people are very concerned about me. They're legitimately like, we want to get you medical attention and help. But I'm very fair-skinned. So I turn red really easily if I'm embarrassed, if I'm anxious, if I'm excited, sunburned, whatever. I just turn red really easily. So I was just saying, it's like kind of funny thing about being a white person in predominantly Black space. But I want to talk about this, because one other thing that I have noticed is that in predominantly Black workspaces, people are much more like community oriented and like much more willing to show each other grace and give people a helping hand and just help each other out. And I feel like I'm not explaining this well, so let me give you a couple examples. So right now, like I said, I work in a predominantly Black school. Me and my fiance recently moved into a new house. While we were moving, our washing machine broke. So I reached out to the movers to be like, hey, you broke my thing. Give me money, please. And they sent me a claim form and I had to get it notarized. So in my school group chat, I said like, hey, is anyone here a notary? Explain the situation. And I was like, I'm happy to pay you to notarize this if anyone here is a notary. And within like an hour, one of my colleagues came to my room with her notary stamp. I tried to pay her. She was like, keep your money. She was like, I cannot believe they broke your washer. You got to get this fixed. I'm happy to notarize it. If you need anything else, I can notarize it for you. Like, So nice and so willing to help me out for literally nothing, just because we work together, we're in a community together. So she just wanted to help me like person to person. And then like another example, one time I had to leave early for a doctor's appointment. A colleague was happy to cover my class. And it's not like I left like halfway through the day. I left like 30 minutes early, but no one was irritated at me or made any type of like passive aggressive comment about how I need to schedule those things outside of work hours. Like people were just happy to help me out. In contrast, when I was in a predominantly white workspace, I just felt like that human to human help was not there. So one time I was a little bit late to work because I had an appointment. I think it was when I got TSA pre-check, or maybe I was renewing my license. I don't know. I was at like a government office and I thought I would make it in time to work, but I didn't. And I was probably like 15 minutes late. Like it was not crazy. And they docked my time. They were like, those appointments need to be taken outside of work hours. We're not paying you for that 15 minutes. And literally like cut 15 minutes from my paycheck. Like there was no willingness to be like, oh yeah, I'll cover you. You can just help me with something. Like there was none of that. And then one time, this was a really white thing to do. And I really am still taken aback that this happened. I took a half day because I was going to my former student's graduation. And so I was like, hey, I'm not going to be there in the morning. Like it was already in the calendar. It was approved and everything. But for some reason, they thought I came back later than I said I was going to. I don't know why they thought that, but they checked the security cameras to see if I came back when I was supposed to be back. And I'm sorry, I just don't feel like anyone who's not white would do that. I just don't see that happening in like a predominantly non-white space. And again, this is like personal anecdotal things. It's not like I have a big sample size here, but at least in my own life with my own jobs and my own communities that I've been in, I felt like in white workspaces, you were not expected to be a human being. You were expected to be an employee. So if you were not feeling well, one of your kids needed something, you have some kind of car issue or whatever, you're not supposed to bring that to work. That's your fucking problem. And you need to keep it outside of work. As opposed to when I've been in predominantly black workspaces, I felt like I really could be open, like, hey, my car battery died and I'm going to be late. Like, I just felt like there's not judgment cast on like random life things that are non-judge worthy events.
I just saw a black woman. Okay, let me start over. It will make sense. Just hear me out. My grandma was a very important person in my life. She was very open-minded, kind of a heavy evergreener. She was kind of a hippie. Anyway, she had property up in Mount Rainier, and next to her property was this really big river, and we would go there and we would like take rocks. And we'd always look for rocks that had like really crazy patterns on it, like white streaks going down, or ones that looked like granite, or maybe it was shaped like a heart. Like we just tried to find the most unique rocks. And when I was picking out all these rocks and I showed my grandma, she wasn't disappointed, but she was just like, very cute, very cute. And then she said, have you ever tried to find a rock that was very dark? I mean, very dark, almost black. And I was like, no. Like, I like the ones that have like stuff all over them. And she said, well, these are beautiful, but if you ever find a rock that is very dark, if you pull it out of the water, if you pull it out of the river and the water is still on it and you shine it in the sun, it's the most beautiful rock there is. I mean, gorgeous. And I thought, like, okay. And it really wasn't that big of a deal to me as a kid because I thought, like, okay, whatever, it's just a rock. And I want ones that have patterns all over them. Grandma, in that conversation, told me, oh, I'm going to cry. She told me that there was this man that worked with her when she used to work in these, like, chemical labs. And he was black. And she said that when they were inside, that he was a handsome man, but he was truly the most gorgeous person she'd ever seen. When they would go outside for breaks, she said he was usually sweating a little bit from working, and when we go outside we get like a little bit of a break. The water or the sweat that was going down his face, it would just kind of sit down his head or on his cheekbones. And she said he had to have been the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. She said, and it reminded me of these rocks that I would find from the river. They truly are the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. They just glisten in the sun. And I just thought that was really sweet. And I was in my living room today and I was looking at some rocks that the girls had collected. I looked out my living room window and there was this girl, this black woman with very dark complexion walking down my street. And I know everyone who walks down these streets because I'm a stay-at-home mom and I just look out the window all day, like seriously. And she had her hair in a ponytail like this and she had highlighter on right here that I could see from my window. Like that's how much she was shining. And it was raining outside and there was just water like falling down her shoulders, and it just like hit me and I was like, wow, like Grandma was right. That is the most beautiful person I have ever seen in my life. Like she is literally glistening. She's shining just the same as Grandma had described this rock or the guy that she used to work with and that I secretly think she's in love with. But just wow, she was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I was just watching her walk down the road. Don't know why she's walking down here because no one here is worthy of all that beauty. This is not the best neighborhood. I was like, why are you here? Like, what the heck? I was gonna go out the door and just let her know she looks beautiful today. And when I opened the door, she was gone. She wasn't there. I was like, what the heck? Like, there's no way she made it past the point where I can't see her anymore. But it was just so weird that I was looking at these rocks and then I saw her and just crazy. Because she really was gorgeous. I mean, like, wow, Grandma was not wrong.
So I was raised that Black people were God's favorite and they were the superior race. And it was interesting to be raised with that mentality because I think it's different than a lot of how other like white people were raised. And I do believe that if more people were raised this way, the world would be a little bit better of a place and maybe we can get along a little bit nicer together. Obviously there's pros and cons to everything. So I would love to discuss the pros and cons of what it was like to be raised with this mentality, as well as like what you think about it and what you think we should do going forward to raise the next generation of children who are carrying the future for us. So how this mentality came about, I was really quizzical and curious as a child and very outspoken. It's interesting to look back now that we're in this ginger talk right now. I'm kind of reliving a few of the silly little traumas that we face as gingers. And I noticed that I was more outspoken between the ages of 0 and 8. And once I started getting really made fun of as a ginger, I kind of lost my voice and I wasn't as brave or outspoken and I was shy and timid. So it's kind of interesting to have that realization now so many years later. Anyway, back to the important topic here. The way that this mentality was brought on to me was, as I said, I was very outspoken and, you know, I was quizzical and curious as a child. So before the age of 6, I asked my mom, why do we call them Black people when they're more different shades of brown? And I asked her, why do people treat them differently or call them names? Like, what does this mean? Why is this happening? And how do you explain race and racism to a child that is under the age of 6 in a way that they can understand? Because obviously they're not going to be able to comprehend or grasp the entirety of the depth of what racism really truly is. So how do you explain that to a child? She knew that I loved my brownies and my cookies baked a little bit longer than you're supposed to because the crispy edge of the brownie was always my favorite. And I loved when the chocolate chip cookie was a little bit crispy on the outside and a little gooey on the inside. And that was the perfect way to bake the cookies and bake the brownies. So she used that analogy. And yes, it sounds crazy, but as a 4-year-old child, it made perfect sense. And she used that analogy and she said, you know how you like your cookies and your brownies baked a little bit extra? That's kind of what God did with Black people. He took more time and more love into creating Black people. And that's why they're a little bit darker than you. He just baked them a little bit longer. That's how she described race to me. And she said that anybody who talks badly about them or is mean to them is just jealous. So right away, I was kind of just like completely infatuated and just in awe of Black people, because I'm like, oh my gosh, what is it like to be God's favorite? What is it like to, just be loved a little bit more from God? Like, I just thought it was incredible and amazing. And so I always just gravitated towards Black people because I was like, oh my God, like they're so lucky. Do they know how lucky they are? Like, how cool is it that God spent a little bit more time on them? I was fascinated by it. And
brothers and sisters, if there is one thing that I need y'all to stop doing is doubting yourselves. Stop shrinking yourselves and acting like greatness belongs to somebody else. And before somebody says he is trying to hype us for views, let's talk about things that researchers, historians, and psychologists have actually spoken about. You know one thing that researchers talked about a lot? Resilience, the ability to go through struggle and still keep moving, the ability to get knocked down and still get back up. Psychologists have studied this for years, especially when talking about Black communities. The American Psychological Association has talked about how Black communities, despite generation of hardship, continue to show resilience through family bonds, faith, culture, community support, and survival skills. That is not weakness. That means even when life gets harder, somehow Black people still find a way to laugh, create, build, love, and survive. A lot of people go through pressure and fold. But how many times have we seen people go through struggle and still turn pain into purpose, still raise families, still build businesses, still influence the culture, still find joy? The level of resilience is something that people study. And let's talk about influence for a minute. Whether people want to admit it or not, people copy what they admire. And that's why you are seeing people around the world copying from Black Americans. It's because they all admire Black Americans. That does not mean that anybody is better than anybody else. But it should remind y'all that there is a power in what you carry. Y'all should stop acting like what you bring to the table is small. Y'all also have melanin that many people wish to have. And as you know, melanin provides natural protection against sunburn because it absorbs more UV radiation. And that is why we rarely see Black people using sunscreen. But other people from other races, they always go with sunscreen just to protect their skin from being burnt by the sun. But let me tell y'all where the real power is. The real power is in the mindset. The real power is refusing to see yourself as less than anybody else. There have been many books that were written about Black excellence, survival, and achievement despite systems working against people. You can look at books like The Miseducation of Negro by Carter G. Woodson, where he talked about how people can be conditioned and stop believing in their own potential. Even decades ago, he was warning people about being mentally trained to think small. Then you got people like Cloud, who started something called stereotype threat. Basically, how constantly hearing negative stereotypes about your group can affect confidence and performance. Think about it. Imagine hearing your whole life what you cannot do, what you will never become, and still find ways to rise anyway. That takes strength. So, to all Black people, stop waiting for permission to feel proud of who you are. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what? I come from strong people. I come from people who survived hard times. I come from people who kept going even when odds were stacked against them. That pride should not make you disrespect anybody else, but it should stop you from disrespecting yourself, because too many people walk around already defeated before they even try, already convinced that they cannot become successful, already convinced that big dreams belong to other people, not them. Please, brothers and sisters, don't do that to yourself. Learn your history, respect yourself, chase all of those dreams that scares you, and stop acting like confidence is arrogance. Confidence is simply saying that I know I got value, and you are black. Never forget that, because too many people want to be like you, but they can't. Y'all should remember that people admire your culture. They copy your style. They love your identity. They study your resilience. Take that as a reminder that there is something powerful inside you already. You don't need outside approval to know your worth. You just need to stop doubting yourselves. And once you start doing that, everybody around you will start learning from you. Everybody around you will start admiring you, and he or she will want to be like you. So I want you all to tell me what you think about this video down there in the comment section. And if you have enjoyed watching it, please click on the like button. Mr. TA is signing off. Ciao.